Welcome to Wild Earth Safari this morning. My name is Mark, and Herman is with me on camera for a change. And Tara back in final control. A beautiful sunrise coming up over the Kruger and eastern part of the Sabi Sands. So if you're somewhere in the world and you've just seen a sunset, this is where it's coming up, and this is what it's doing for us. Beautiful different layers of cloud making a really beautiful sunrise today. Incredible colors. So, our plan for today. Same as we do every day. Plan to take over the world. No. Let me tell you what I did this morning. I came past the lodge. Now, those of you who don't know, Vuyatela Access Road is the road that comes into the lodge from the gate. And if you carried on straight with Vuyatela Access Road, it brings you past the side of the lodge and virtually runs straight into Gowrie Dam, almost. Now, I followed that road just in the hope that maybe Karula and cubs had perhaps crossed it somewhere, coming south from the lodge, but they didn't. Certainly not in the short distance that I travelled on that little bit of road. And as we're sitting here, just near Gowrie Dam, we've got the Egyptian goose making a lot of noise down there. So we're going to start off by heading down back to the front of the lodge, where she was last seen last night. And we're going to see if we can maybe see her. We're not going to spend hours looking for her like I did yesterday. If she's not around, she's not around. She might be back inside the lodge again. And then we're going to go to Treehouse Dam, and we're going to follow those lion tracks to wherever they might have gone to. We're going to see where they went to. So join me, let's go for a drive. Such beautiful sounds. The morning's coming awake, or waking up. A little bit of a dawn chorus. By no means the chorus that we have in summer. Perfectly still morning. Isn't a breath of wind. The air is perfectly still. Go-away bird shouting as well. Might be shouting at us though. The thing is that monkeys and baboons haven't said a word this morning. Haven't heard either of them alarming. If the primates are around, that is. Nice silhouette of the goose. Aha, baboon. I think I just heard a baboon. Yeah, the baboons are starting to call now. Guess they're waking up and seeing something. Let's head up closer to the house. Babblers, very appropriately named birds. And now the goose starts shouting again. Let's just go through. Nobody around, no guests, staff. This is the extension of Vuatela Access Road where we are now. It runs along the edge of the lodge, between the lodge and the owner's house. And this cat is here somewhere. Somebody's been chopping up frangipani. We can just get to see one of these baboons and get an idea of where they're looking. Might have to come back this way. Impala up ahead aren't doing anything. Impala up ahead are carrying on as normal. I can see some baboons in the fever tree. I just can't see where they're looking. They're looking down towards one of them. There's one of the youngsters. They're all looking at the sunrise. Let's go do a trip around the open area. Sorry. Morning, boys. Morning. Good, and you? Oh, beautiful giraffe. Incredible light on this giraffe. Well, there's just there are more giraffe. The rest of the youngsters up ahead, the ones you've been watching with Tara. Impala snorting. One, two, three. Gosh, there's a bunch of giraffe. Just look at this beautiful yellow light. Okay, come, we need to go. These impalas are snorting. Get closer to the giraffe as well and be able to see. Maybe the giraffe will look in the right direction. Giraffe looking that way. Franklin's shouting. Look at those giraffe all looking down south. We're going to have to come back and have a look at them. Oh, it's actually hard to tell. Now the impala's looking behind us. I think they're just all looking around. They know that there's something somewhere. These animals are confusing me. And it looks like they're confusing the giraffe as well. Franklin shouting, Impala shouting. 1, 2 females, 2 youngsters, 3 youngsters. That's a little boy giraffe. Right. Down there. It looks like 3 adult females and 3 youngsters. Alright, go up onto the ridge and look over the other side of. And my guess, if you look at things, that impala is Morning, madam. Beautiful animals. So graceful. We're gonna go. See, this impala is looking down towards the turnoff where we came out this morning. He's seen something. But he's also not sure. I think he's just as confused as we all are. Maybe alarming because the baboon were. Show me the cat, Impala. Show me the cat. In this part of the world, you don't cry wolf, you cry leopard. And that's what he's doing. But I don't know if he can see her. Impala we were watching yesterday got a little bit of a scar above his right eye. A very healthy ram. Let's turn them back onto the access road again and again. Maybe it's just the scent of a predator he can pick up, and he doesn't exactly know where she is, so he's just snorting, because really when it comes to the animal world, he who shouts loudest and longest is the least likely to be caught, he or she. Yeah, I don't think he knows where she is. He heard the baboons. He's probably picking up the scent of something. All these impala are a little bit way too relaxed feeding. But then again, it could be this cat somewhere flat in the grass just waiting, like she does, for them to creep a bit closer, and then she's just going to pop up and catch one of them. Hyena tracks, baboon tracks, lion dung. Baboon tracks probably from last night, coming back. Unusual that they're coming back from the western area. The Gallagher shortcut. No. It came from Zoe's Road Junction. Haven't really known the baboons to go that way for foraging, but ho hum. Hello, Anne in Edmonton. Can you tell the age of an impala? Yes, you can up until about 3-4 years old, especially with males. With the rams, they have a very regular growth rate of their horns. So yes, indeed. And also, because they have a specific lambing period, and it's not like they're born all any time of the year. So they're all born at a certain time of the year. So you know they're all more or less come from that time zone, that time. The next herd of impala will stop, or even the bachelor herd, be able to show you. The young rams that were born this summer, some of them, their horns are only barely an inch. Those are the ones that were born late. The ones that were born early, their horns are probably about 3 inches, maybe 4 the most. Those are the 6-month-old, call it 3 to 6 month old little boys. And then when you look at their body size, you can match that to some of the females who are about the same size. And then in the summer we call them yearlings. I think we can start, well, they're 18 months old now, the youngsters, the little boys that have just been pushed out of the herds, and they're now joining up with the bachelor herds and getting pushed from pillar to post because they've got to fit in with the hierarchy of all the rams within any given area. Let's go back to that giraffe. Their horns are all about maybe 6 to 8, maybe 10 inches long, and they curve inwards and almost touch at the top. And the ones that are a year older are the ones that are starting to fit in with the bachelor groups, and their horns are starting to curve out backwards a bit. I think what we can do is we can go and sit with those giraffe for a little bit. Or maybe even better, stick to the other plan. If something's going to move around here, things will change. Giraffe are in the middle of the open area. Let's just quickly go down to Treehouse Dam because those cats probably more than likely crossed Gowrie Main. Let's just go and have a look. You see this little boy here on my right. Now this is what we would call one of the yearlings, who's actually a little bit more than a year. He's in limbo. He still wants to be with mom and the females. Oops. If he goes near that herd, the ram is going to chase him. And it'll take a few times before he gets the message that he's not welcome back in the herd, especially at this time of the year. He's not sexually active yet, but he is too old to be around the dominant ram. He's leaking. Big bush between him and that big ram. Actually, while we're here, I know I keep changing my mind, but that's because nature just keeps changing it for me. Let's follow him. You're going to see that ram's going to come and chase him. As soon as that ram sees him, he's trying to sneak back to the herd. The ram was a little bit more concerned with shouting at a non-existent predator. Well, not non-existent, but not visible predator. maybe it's not going to happen. Hey little boy, I'm watching you. I don't see the big ram. Neither does he. Here he comes. Here comes the ram. He's just seen this little boy and he's coming now. He doesn't even have to chase him. He's got to snort a little bit. I don't know. Unfortunately, I parked in such a way that the ram is just in front of us, just behind this terminalia. I thought he was a little bit further to the east. But, well, he's going to try that all day and all night. He's going to try and sneak back to the herd, and as soon as that ram sees him, it's gotten to the point where he's actually not physically chasing him that much. Probably this poor ram is a little bit, what's the word, trapped out. I'm going to use another word, maybe not polite. But, such is the life of a little boy who's just reaching the age where he's got to be a little boy and he's no longer going to be welcome with the herd. Did you get the ram running towards us? It was just behind the tree. They just ran towards this little impala, snorted a couple of times, and that was enough to get this little boy to run away. We will see that again. I think we'll go do a loop around Treehouse Dam, find those lion tracks, see where they might have gone, those two girls. Then we'll come and sniff around this area again. We've got giraffe, a little bit of impala activity. Baboons might start getting active. And we might get a better idea of where Karula and the cubs are, especially if she starts to move around, which she's likely to do. She has a habit of wandering around when the sun comes up and the morning wears on a little bit. She can be sure that she's not going to be bothered by hyena. Morning, Hornbill. Sweet home Alabama. Amanda in Alabama. Are you guys getting flooded there? I know Tennessee is going to have a bit of a flood soon. Mississippi opening sluice gates of some spillway. Forget the name of it. And they have to flood some towns to save many others. But Alabama also had that terrible tornado just recently. Anyways, do I still get excited? Yes, I do. Most things, not only just the lions hunting last night, but yes, I do. Even a hornbill doing something. What have you got? It had a spider on a piece of silk, and it was sort of swinging it and trying to get it in its mouth. Pity that didn't last very long. As far as the lions hunting last night, Amanda, it was incredible because while we don't see anything, there's this tension in the air, and there's this expectation to some degree, and there's also just this anticipation, just waiting for that noise, waiting for that sound that the strike is on, the hunt is on. Last night, I didn't think they had much of a chance. Impala ram this time of the year is easier taken when he's in a herd. The Impala rams that are on their own are pretty strong, pretty healthy, pretty quick. They've been strengthening their muscles for the challenges of taking over other groups of females. And they don't have to run around chasing away the little boys and chasing away rival rams and sparring, herding females and mating. There's so much that a dominant ram has to do at this time of the year that he loses condition quite rapidly. And in the process of him being distracted so much and losing condition, he's easily taken out. But an Impala ram that's on his own, difficult one for a lioness, difficult one for a leopard even. Not for any other reason other than they're quick, they're alert, and you got to really get close. Let's take Weaver's Nest. Hope everyone had a pleasant weekend. Start of a new week. Mid-May already. Excuse me, doves. Gosh, Deborah. Morning to you, Deborah. What first or unusual sightings have been seen on safari drives? Well, Deborah, it's kind of hard to choose from several thousand hours of... Well, you're a bit late in the world, child. Look at the size of this. Should we get the camera off for this? Yeah. There's not too many of these beetles around anymore. Let's Garrett. We've probably got a car coming. You have got a car coming. Hello. Might be a car coming, but you know, I've often talked about toys as a kid, and they're still my toys now. This is one of my best toys. A little bit slow, and it looks like it's got a little bit of a scratch on. No, it's not. It's just the markings. Can you go level with it? Good morning, Scarab. Hello, look at the camera. She's a little bit afraid. But just the size, look at that. There's my thumb. That is quite a big beetle. Very delicate antenna, able to pick up the scent of dung, of course. And because it has, well, the wider these antennae are, the more it can pinpoint direction. So you often get dung beetles turning into the wind and turning around, trying to establish where the direction of the smell of dung is coming from. I wanted it to move, but we are about to be disturbed. Sand on the lens. Morning. Yeah, absolut. Vi kommer ju. And another one. Good morning. She just stole that car in like 5th gear. A little bit. Less clutch and more gas. No, it's just one sunlight from there. I wanted to move. I wanted to show you that almost robot-like gait of theirs. And one of the reasons why these were my favorite toys is because they didn't need batteries, they didn't need winding up. But those sensitive antennae, just trying to pick up air movement, trying to give her an idea of where she can go. I think we are disturbing it a little bit. Now they actually are modeling six-legged robots on beetles like this to be able to cover all sorts of terrain. Open the iris a bit. Hello, Anne. Sorry, just trying to keep my umbilical cord with Tara. Hello, Anne. Anne wants to know if the beetle bites. No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, dung beetles don't have much of a mouth part. And if she will let me. I don't know if we'll be able to see underneath. No mouth parts to speak of, but what they do have, though, not biting, all these spines on their legs, they're incredibly strong, so they tend to discourage things from eating them by pushing with these very, very strong legs. Now, these are the front legs that they use for packing the dung, and these other, the tarsi at the back, you can see there's some very, very sharp spines on just before the toes start, on the tibias, I think you would call them. They do have femurs and tibias. She's not happy, but I must get her. I should put her around some buffalo dung, although I think this is more a zebra dung kind of beetle. But I want to get her out of the road. Only because someone's going to drive on top of her. She'll find an open patch, and maybe later when it gets a little bit warmer, she might fly. And flying just above the ground, they're able to pick up the scent of dung, and when they get to a really, really strong scent, they actually just fold their wings and they drop. And then they'll walk along the ground to try and hone in on where the dung is. So you can see what, I mean, I'll never, even when I'm 70, I'll still rever those beetles. They're just incredible the way they moved, the way they little mechanical robot. And we're back again. Oh look, there's me. I'm on TV. Hello, Ma. Okay, Mark, stop it now. Behave. The wonders of Mother Nature never cease to amaze me. And entertain me. And enthrall me. And what else can I say? It's a beautiful day. So we're at Spam Road. Check on some traffic. See now, those two vehicles that just came by are two vehicles from Cheetah Plains who went to collect staff, and that might explain why the two of them, plus maybe one or two game drive vehicles, might explain why I thought there were a lot of vehicles for this time of the morning. But those two Cheetah Plains vehicles would have been enough to create sufficient dust and what have you to cover those lion tracks like they did. Elephant go here. Morning, Melva Ann. Where do the beetles go when it turns cooler, when it becomes cold, turns cooler? They go to beetle heaven. A lot of these beetles don't survive longer than, as adults rather, they don't live longer than the summer months. I think, to be honest, I doubt whether there are that many of them that are able to burrow and spend the dry season underground, and most of them die off. A lot of hyena activity here. Wow. And there were elephants just before the hyenas. And hippo spraying dung, spray marking. And hippo track, elephant, hippo track, hyena, hippo track, rhino. This is a new game I'm inventing. Hippo track, elephant. Can be a rhino down here. With 300 buffalo and a herd of elephant surrounding two lionesses quivering in the middle. No, they've gone. Fresh rhino dung. And 4 interesting animals on this road last night. rhino, hippo, elephant, and hyena. And I'm quite sure in the next few meters we're going to see lioness tracks. Of course, whether any of these animals are still anywhere near this dam is another matter entirely. Buffalo now. Gee, 4 of the big 5 in a small stretch of road. There are all the buffalo just off to our right. They're still sleeping, so we'll come back to them. But there's the whole herd there. Blacksmith lapwing plover. And the lioness's tracks are there. Why is this lapwing? Why is the plover complaining? Tucana up there too. Been a lot of activity here. There's a hippo. I think hippo's a bit depressed. Sulking. What was it? Hello, Sandy. Are the 2 lionesses still in the area from last night? Well, that's what we're trying to establish, Sandy. There were tracks on Gowrie Main that looked like they might have crossed. Sorry. We've come back to the dam where we left them last night. They were here on the dam wall. And in the interim, these buffalo have come back to Treehouse Dam during the night. So I'm trying to establish. There are a lot of hyena tracks around as well, you see. So I don't know whether these cats. There were fresh tracks on Gowrie Main of 2 lionesses. I'm guessing this aim to. Oh, excuse me, gosh. Whether they're somewhere near this herd of buffalo is another matter. Let's try and find some tracks again on the other side of the dam. This is where the young lioness was drinking. Her tracks are here. We watched her drinking here last night, and we left them sleeping right here. So, my guess is since they were heading south, my guess is they might have continued south, but straight across here are the buffalo. So we just need to find out if these lionesses are still here or whether they left the area before the buffalo came back. Let me just, before I go and drive over things, let me just have a look. I want to look at mud and stuff. Oh, lovely. Let's change the step loader. These are all hyena tracks. Mostly hyena tracks here. I'm not even seeing lion tracks. But there are just too many buffalo being here. I mean, those buffalo all came back to the water. This plover is complaining also. And the whole herd's coming down. They've all woken up. Thank you, Linda, for the information. Yes, that is correct. The Egyptians revered the scarabs. And you find the scarab beetle is a very prominent feature in hieroglyphics and in Egypt, Egyptian lore. They believe that the scarab is responsible for rolling the sun across the sky. Let's move into this herd. Hello, big boy. It sounds like quite a big herd. Morning, Larry. Larry in Oxford. Talking about that lioness. Can she still kill prey with those worn down teeth? It depends on what prey, Larry. I don't think she's got. I don't think she'd be very effective with buffalo. Big buffalo. Look at them, they're still sleeping. And looking down their noses at us. They would have slept with the calves and the cows in the middle, the big bulls around the outside perhaps. Hey, some of the prey things she will still be able to kill, because she'll be able to still close the windpipe, or be able to close her mouth over their nose and mouth to be able to suffocate them. I think where she might have difficulty is tearing the skin open, but then she's got other cats with her. And also, the younger lioness will help her too. When it comes to killing, she'll still be an active participant in the hunt, if anything, initiating it. The cow's got a broken horn. Be interested to find that cow that you saw yesterday. Let's move around the herd a little bit. Hello girls and boys. A couple of big bulls in there too. Wow, this is quite a herd, eh? Gosh. Hello everybody. Big bull just lost the tip of his horn. There's a little bit of blood coming out. You can see that one of the main differences between horns and antelope. You can just see him a bit better. No, she wants to come the other way. There's a tiny baby there with a cow. But this big bull just seems to have just recently lost the tip of his horn. You can see it must be also quite tender, because of blood on it, right through to the bone. But he's facing the other way now. Morning. Morning. Madam. I think he's probably been fighting because he's got a bloody ear as well. Well, he's turning away from us again. Paddy was just asking a question. That big bull, we couldn't really see it, but his right horn. Paddy was asking if an animal breaks a horn, does it do anything to their balance? And I guess there he goes. He's chasing a youngster away. He's in a bad mood. I'm glad he didn't get angry with us. Because he might come through again. I mean, you could see how, with that broken horn, we might get another view of it. Yes, it will be painful and they will feel it. Because it goes through their blood vessels and nerves. And as far as balance is concerned, yeah, I guess maybe initially there'll be a bit of a balance problem. There's a fairly new baby getting stuck in the bushes. Look this way, please, Mr. Bill. There we go. Just the tip of his horn, and it's quite messy. It's quite bloody. And my guess is because of the condition of his ear and his mood, he's recently had an altercation. And looks like squaring off again with somebody. This herd is, I think I said that already, it's huge. And I don't think it throws their balance off that much. I mean, surely the strength of their neck and their shoulders and their nuchal muscle would have developed with a balanced weight. But when a tip is broken off or just one side is broken off, it's not too heavy that it's going to cause major problems with balance. Now those two, yeah, they're fighting again. This one with the broken horn, he's at it again. But they're not fighting, they're sparring. Maybe they'll come out of the bush. He's mounting her. They're not sparring. Okay, but you have to forgive me. It's behind the bush, so I'm not looking at it properly. I think he was trying to mate. And that's probably what it was, as he was fighting for mating rights. And before we leave, you're not going to see it, but just behind this this dead wood in front of us, there's a huge cow. She's got an incredible set of horns on her, but she's sleeping. She's got her head down.
Yeah, guys, coming back. Yellow, yellow, yellow.
This child's trying to drink and she doesn't want to let it. So she's just going to lie down. Calf wants to drink. Any Eastern Stations copy? Morning, who's that? How's it, Peter Mark here? You guys pick up any Galam Konzo on Gary Main?
Negative. Didn't any carding of the card in the camera was in last night.
No, I didn't copy that. How's it, Ryan? Good news. Yeah, I saw some almost directly south of Treehouse Dam. Yeah, I left them last night on the dam wall at Treehouse. Also, just to let you know, there's this huge Slambianyari between Treehouse Dam and Gary Main. At the moment, they're all still lying down, but they're starting to get active. I had fresh tracks coming down onto Treehouse Dam. I'll try and see if I can find him. Okay, copied. I'll take up on that just now.
Aren't you head a bit more?
Wrong way. Sorry, that was the calf that was trying to drink and Mom just lay down, wouldn't let her. I'm going to move again. Ryan was just saying that those two Sticks females moved down south again onto Hoffman. So the tracks that I saw probably were the tracks from last night. Just so many vehicles on top of them already this morning. Hello, little baby. Yoga. Wee pet. Hello, Paddy. What makes horns so large? Does it run in families? Well, yes, there's a fair amount of genetics involved. A lot of it's also got to do with age. But yes, most definitely a genetic thing. Some of them are still fast asleep. See, buffalo can afford to sleep because they live in big groups and they protect each other. Oh, we're right in the middle of them now. Some pretty big buffalo here. But yes, some of them will inherit the genes for large horns. Unfortunately, from a lot of hunting way back in the days of hunting, the really big, it's like the elephants, really big boys were all taken out because they were the trophies. And you look at these two females looking at us here. Look at the difference in the shape of the horns and the spread. One's got almost Texas steer-like horns, the one on the right. The other one, almost water buffalo, like Asian water buffalo type horns, curving down like that. Everybody's different. Every single buffalo is different. Okay, let's back out. We are literally in the middle. I have to have them quite relaxed with us. Now, generally speaking, buffalo in a big herd like this are not as dangerous as the big old bulls out on their own. What was that? Some strange noise. Ones we call the Duggar boys. Ones that are out on their own, they can get a little bit irritated with vehicles or with humans. But even on foot, I've walked amongst buffalo in a herd this size. Not amongst them, because they don't really take to humans on foot very well, but they're not likely to charge or attack. They tend to mostly run away. They stampede a little. I'm just doing a bit of a circle around the herd to get an idea of the extent of the herd. It's quite big. Massive. Even some of them out this way. And whoa, in a hole. There must be a big hole there too. Oh. That is a burrow system here. I want to get into that. Blacksmith Lapwing is still shouting down at the dam. Hello, Sandy. Wants to know about the judge. Sandy, we haven't seen or heard of the judge probably for at least, I'd say, maybe 8 months or more, maybe even longer. Took a photograph of him last year sometime. He was up near Buffalo Cutline, but I haven't defined. I don't know where he is. Don't know whether he's still alive. Don't know where he's been staying, what he's been doing. If we don't see an animal, then we don't know where they are unless we get reports of like lions and lion and leopard and stuff. But nobody, I think, is likely to give us any reports on the status of a buffalo. Now this big bull here has got a little dent in his forehead, and I'm wondering if he's not the one that's been fighting with the other bull. This female is flirting with him. Hello, Teresa. Shape and size difference between male and female horns. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a perfect example. We've got this bull. Let me turn the vehicle a little bit. If he will show his face. One of the main differences, if you look at this bull, he's huge. The bulls develop this, what we call a boss, this very heavy, thick, there's going to be an altercation here. Big bull going in to calm things down. He's got an injury, probably from fighting. There are females in estrus, just judging by the behavior that I've seen already this morning. This female that he's with, she's been rubbing against him. I'm guessing she's in estrus. There's another female next to him. And he is a big bull, so they're probably going to him for mating. And he's probably been fighting with one or two other big bulls in the herd for access to these females. And I would guess that it's between him and that other big bull we saw who broke his horn. Because this big guy has got a fairly decent hole in his forehead. Another big one just next to me now. Shape-wise, Teresa, you know, the females and the male, the shape can be very similar. Gosh, look at her. She's spotted. I don't think I've ever seen a spotted buffalo before. That's not mud. Those are like little, like nguni white spots.
You sure it's mud?
No, I'm sure it's not mud. It's too uniform. And I don't know how she would get spots of mud. I think it was a wayward cow from outside that came. This bull, this big bull that's got, and he's huge, he's towering over a lot of these other buffalo. He's chasing off other bulls. In fact, he's probably got such a status, he just turns towards them and they disappear. But there's another bull next to me here who is cruising for a bruising. He's might be some action here. That big bull is a lot of jostling and pushing and shoving. See if we can keep him in view. I can't believe it. I mean, his shoulder height is 6 inches at least above any other bull in the area. Okay, I mean, you can just see him. You don't even need to look hard. You just look for the tallest buffalo. And he's sort of psyching out all these other bulls. Yeah, there's a bull trying to mate now. And yeah, and he breaks it up. And he's coming now, aiming for that bull that was trying to mate. A lot of these bulls are showing signs of excitement. And my guess is that's why he's got a gash on his forehead, because he's now he's going to be in the way of this tree. Forward rather. Hello, Mrs. Buffalo. He was about to mount her. Just don't come closer to me, because then he's going to think that I'm showing interest. Oh, he's cranky this morning. But that's the female that's been flirting with him. She's flirting with him again, just touching horns. And bulls like this one here now in front of me, they're trying to come around the back. As long as he turns his back, they seem to try and come around the back of him so that he can't see them. He's keeping others at bay. It's interesting behavior. Hello, Steph. No, I've actually been looking for that cow. I said earlier I wouldn't mind seeing her to try and see what it looks like. There was a picture posted yesterday, but very difficult to see. Couldn't make out anything. One of the reasons, well, not the main reason, but one of the reasons why I've been trying to circle the herd, trying to get an idea of the size of the herd and looking at different individuals. Guess at the size of the herd, Paddy, 300, maybe more. I'd say probably 200 to 300. That big buffalo is like the equivalent of that big elephant we saw the other day in buffalo terms. Yeah. No. There's a tiny little spider here next to my face that is just think it's Christmas. It's already caught 4 flies from these 4 or 5 flies from these buffalo.
Point your finger there again.
Just here in front of my hand.
Cool.
Oops. Like a little bark spider. Okay, I think we move on. Yeah. The front of the car has got a cloud of flies on it. Interesting. That big bull just walks towards the other bulls and they just, ooh, that's not nice. He just rammed a youngster in the rear. Cranky old man. Right, see, get out of here. Fred, what purpose does what serve? Fred, hello. What purpose does it serve for me to point out the various buffalo? I don't understand. I think we're talking to Fred, who we normally have to reply to via email because he obviously hasn't been hearing me narrate. I don't understand. Don't understand. Big burrow here. This is like a porcupine burrow. Yeah, can't go that way. I don't want to disturb them. So I still haven't seen. Whoa! systems here. Thank goodness for diff lock. Nearly lost the back wheel in a hole there. What? That's because the tire was there. So it's an aardvark burrow. Herman just saw an aardvark because my tire must have collapsed a bit of the hole on this side. It's a burrow system. But we're not gonna, I don't think we're gonna see him again.
Big, eh?
Yeah, they are big. Thought it might have been a porcupine burrow, but it's an aardvark burrow. Fantastic.
I think I got on camera.
No, it's a pity, it was right, it was behind us. I just saw a branch, the grasses move and a branch move. So as yet still haven't seen that female. But this is such a big herd and they are so spread out. We've probably only seen 3/4 of them. Bye-bye, buffalo. Hello, Penny. Did you get a glimpse of a yellow-billed oxpecker? I don't know, Penny. I have to be honest. I haven't even focused on an oxpecker this morning. I suppose I should have because there are dozens of them here. But I honestly didn't look at any oxpeckers. I've been looking at buffalo and mostly concentrating on where I'm putting the wheels because there was a burrow system there. Already put the wheel into several of those holes. And I wasn't looking at oxpeckers, I'm afraid. Some of them are all coming down to the water now. Let's see if we can sit here. Would have been interesting if it was a yellow-billed oxpecker. Cheryl, now as far as the spider is concerned, Cheryl, those little things that you saw, those were flies wrapped in silk, and it would catch one and then another one would get caught and wrap it in silk, and then it'll probably pull them all up to a branch later today and then feed on them. Yeah, I know, Penny. I managed to find a tiny little spider, but I didn't look at an oxpecker. I don't know. how that works, but here's the big bull with the broken tip to his horn coming down now, following this cow. He's also a monster of a buffalo. Just coming down to the water in ones and twos at the moment. Melba Ann, what eats the horns? I assume we're talking about once they're dead, the buffalo. Well, there's an insect that eats the outer covering of the horn, not the bone interior, not the skeletal part of it. That might get chewed on by hyena. But there's the larva of a moth known as the horn borer that eats at the horn and hoof. It'd be nice to see the whole herd come to the water, but that can take a while because a lot of them are still sleeping, lying down. So I think we'll move on. William, morning to you. It looks like Heron's just caught a frog at the back of the hippo. William wants to know if the buffalo would react differently if we had lion dong on the wheels. Very much so. They would pick up the scent. They would, I don't know how they would react. They'd probably give us a wider berth. They'd probably get a bit defensive. She just swallowed that frog. grey heron. Let's go. Day of all days is a day when I needed somebody else driving around. It's going to make a big difference when we get 2 vehicles out. It would be nice to have had somebody around Juma looking out for Karula, because I'm sure she would have moved by now and made an appearance. Just like yesterday, twice after we were looking for her, she'd been seen. Spends time around the lodge, taking advantage of no guests, no people around, moving around. And that'll probably change today. I'm not too sure what their bookings are like. A lot of the lodges are getting a little quiet now. In the next week or two. Treehouse Dam, no, sorry, Twin Dams. Like a mirror. The air is so still. Hello Deborah, interesting question about eagle behavior in cold weather. Does it change their behavior? Do they do things differently? Do they look for vultures to find food? It's just the other way around, Deborah. The vultures look for eagles. There are only a couple of eagles that will scavenge. Things like the Battalier and the tawny eagle. And just by the way, I noticed some of you posted, I was so quick at identifying that African harrier hawk yesterday. It was just flying in towards the dam and I just saw beige and brown. And I said tawny eagle and it was actually the juvenile harrier hawk. And some people posted it as a tawny eagle, so that is. I tried to correct myself in time yesterday, but obviously didn't get it done. But yes, depending on which eagle we're talking about, though, because some eagles hunt from perches, so it doesn't really affect them as much as it does the eagles that hunt from the air, hunt on the wing, because cold weather doesn't have the thermal activity to be able to keep them in the air. And of course what happens is it's too energy consuming to be able to keep themselves aloft. So cold, wet, overcast weather, eagles that do tend to soar and do tend to find food on the wing keeps them grounded, or rather in the trees. I haven't been here for a long time. Not copying you, Tara, I'm afraid. Sorry, just a little bit of hissing. Let's try. Let me just get up onto Leadwood Road. Oh, somebody's just come out of Leadwood Road. Okay, we'll go up to Cheetah Cut Line then. I need a stick or a tree trunk. I got an itch. Have itch will scratch. Rhino. Run back that way. Okay, maybe now radio will be better. Well, that was wrong. Thank you, Holly. There's another rhino here. Holly is saying, according to Wikipedia, aardvark is related to elephant shrews, tenrec, hyrax and elephant. Didn't know that. Something for me to look up when I get back to try and see how those associations work. So there you go, Janet. Thank you, Tara. William, what protection does an aardvark have against predators? Considering the pangolin can just curl up. Getting overcast. Well, it's one protection is to run into a burrow, but if it's out of a burrow, it doesn't really have much protection other than a very tough skin, as far as I know. Fairly strong forearms and claws. But aardvark are not. I don't have that much of a defense. I don't know where it was. I think it was Penny that sent me a picture from the Kalahari of an aardvark being caught by a leopard. Somebody sent me that picture. Well, I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw a picture of a leopard that had just killed an aardvark. Oh, I know what it was. It was camera trap in Cape Town. Yes, it was at one of the wine estates, and they were just so amazed. In fact, I couldn't believe it. The comments of the photograph were, wow, it's so nice to have leopard around. Hello, monarchs. So nice to have leopard around. Know that the leopards are still around. And this is in just off the Helderberg Mountains near Somerset West in the Cape. Meanwhile, this leopard's got an aardvark in its jaws, and they don't even comment on the fact that it's got an aardvark in its jaws. That's well, I guess for the wine estate, common thing to have an aardvark in the jaws of a leopard. But yes, just to show that the Cape leopards are making a comeback. We're on Cheetah Cut Line. We're trying to pick up some sort of sign of rhino, but most of them look like they've headed south. There were a bunch of tracks where they'd been sleeping in the road when I was listening to Tara tell me about aardvark and elephant shrews and tenrecs. Fresh elephant dung is a big elephant bull that went south. Big elephant bull. Excuse me, Dove. Thank you. Somebody was looking around Leadwood Road. Ryan, come in. Oh, wrong channel. Ryan, come in. Tracks crossing east. My knowledge of the orders and the breakdown, the taxonomy of animals is not anywhere near what it is of that of the guides of today. And it's something that a lot of people have picked up on the tryouts, that the tryouts come in with really good knowledge. They do indeed. In fact, their knowledge is quite incredible. And that is because the institutions that they study with require such a high level of knowledge, such a high pass rate, and the amount of information to become a guide these days is quite intense. Now, when I became a guide, it was all based on personal experience and self-taught knowledge. There weren't many guides when I started guiding. In fact, we were looked at as the equivalent of the surfers in California. We were looked at as sort of dropouts, bums that went to live in the bush, and That's not a derogatory term. But I remember being frowned upon, being looked down upon, because we were dropping out of the city and going to live in the bush and drive a Land Rover around all day, and it wasn't seen as a profession, it wasn't seen as something viable. And this is back in the 80s. To get a job at a lodge, you didn't need any qualification. There was nothing. There were no places doing any training courses. There were no governing bodies that regulated the guiding industry. In fact, my second job, because the first job that I had, they closed the lodge down. I was the only guide in the lodge. I was the guide and training manager. It was a lodge that is now a huge lodge. It was a very small camp at the time called Ulusaba. And when the owner closed it down, I moved to another lodge called Sabi Sabi, and they were doing only their third ever, and they were the only ones doing it, their third ever guide training course, and it was all over, I think it was a 10-day or 2-week course. And I sailed through it based on my personal experience and self-taught knowledge. And of the 10 of us that were on the course, I was one of the 2 that were chosen because of that knowledge. And since then, I've been increasing my own knowledge. So there's a huge difference between what the guides know today and what I know. Poacher! Poacher!
How's it going?
Good, and you?
Thanks.
Did you get any luck? The tracks are on. You obviously didn't do that stretch between Leadwood and Cheetah line on Gowrie Main.
Yeah, we did.
You
They-
did?
They were sleeping there.
Yes,
And
they
then
were asleep on that drainage, in that mitre drain.
Then now we left. We kept having glimpses of a Mafazi with a very small little
Oh,
one.
really?
Very small, like 3 or 4 days.
Is that so?
Tiny. If you take this Ndlela and you go straight down, she's in this
Central
block
Road.
here.
Okay.
She's here. And we've seen her. I mean, we've had brief glimpses of her, which is
Okay.
always just in front of us.
Yeah.
The Ingwe.
No,
Formby.
Rhino.
I need a little one. It's like a bulldog.
The horn is it's not sharp.
Yeah.
Rounded
It's,
the edge.
yeah, like a mosquito bite.
Ah, my pimpa not so. I was thought maybe it's a yinja.
Okay.
So yeah, she's there. She must be here somewhere.
Okay, but then if she's just running, then it's gonna have to take a while to calm down.
It's only with Nyao though. But
Oh,
she
okay.
hasn't been running. She's just been walking steadily in front of us.
Which direction?
Like I said, she might
Yes,
pop out
so-
here somewhere.
Okay.
Across that
Just on this
area.
other block.
Thing on
If you
a
go
land
straight-
there, yeah.
You go straight west. to our
Central
block.
Road and then Drakensberg.
No, we just came from Drakensberg. Carry on going on Central. She was in that block west
Oh,
of
okay.
us.
Cool.
She's in
My
there.
pimpa, and she got a hair. They were on a side on top of the.
Okay.
Pimpa, and I was Makule excited.
I can see you excited.
Alright, lekker.
Okay, later.
I'll see you.
Have a lovely day.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Ryan just caught a glimpse of this and Nyala Bull squaring off. Just said he caught a glimpse of a brand new baby rhino. Well, they were squaring off. Looks like they've stopped. Their crests aren't raised anymore. Okay, back to business at hand. So evidently they didn't get to see her with a vehicle. They were tracking on foot. They managed to get to see her just briefly on foot. Anyway, so as I was saying, while we're watching these Nyala, they're not going to do much. I don't think they're squaring off. They don't have their hair raised and they're not strutting. Let's go see. I don't know. Maybe we'll be lucky. Maybe we'll be able to catch a glimpse of this rhino and her calf. Evidently only a few days old. Which is great news to have a rhino that young. It's been a while since we saw that other rhino and her calf. Remember that other little one? About a year or more ago. Well, haven't seen her again either. So as I was saying, we're going to get, when tryouts come in, they are going to have incredible knowledge. All of them are going to have a very similar level of knowledge that is even going to be, to some degree, in terms of book knowledge, better than mine. Especially when it comes to things like taxonomy and the theoretical stuff. Now, when it comes to sitting with animals and watching them, it's all very well having all of that book knowledge. But the one thing that is important for us here at Wild Earth Safari is having the practical knowledge and the practical experience to be able to understand their behavior and apply that knowledge to a large extent. And it's not all about sitting with an animal and just reciting all these things that you've learned out of a book. And I had a couple of incidents with a couple of our tryouts recently that made me question their abilities. One of them was when we were sitting at one point with Karula and cubs, and all we were getting was book knowledge. When we were sitting with hyena and cubs, all we were getting was just book knowledge. And there was all this beautiful behavior going on that couldn't be interpreted. Also, there were elephant playing in the mud, and it was the most incredible. I was sitting in FC watching it, and all I was hearing was all these facts being rolled off. And I understand that the guides that are coming in are going to be doing the tryouts. I appreciate the fact that we all do when we try here on tryouts. We want to impress the viewers. We want to impress our potential employers. And so we do have a lot of knowledge to impart in that initial period, just to show what we know. But it requires a little bit more than just that knowledge. I don't think we'll get any guides that don't have that level of knowledge, and it's a balance between being able to share that knowledge and being able to enjoy and appreciate the behavior of the animals, and also a little bit of lateral thinking that the books are not always right, that the books were written from observing only few individuals or limited areas, that different habitats, different individuals behave differently to what the books say. So I know in terms of my knowledge, I know I'm seriously lacking in certain areas because I didn't have to write exams and things, and a lot of it is stuff that I've actually never used in my guiding career. Hello Ashley, sorry you didn't manage to see the end of our drive yesterday, but we sat with those two lionesses in the dark, and then they made a move and then unfortunately missed that impala, so we followed them for a while, about another hour I think, and eventually they made their way to Treehouse Dam to drink at Treehouse Dam, but no, we didn't get to see any action on the killing front or the eating part of it. And somewhere in here is a rhino with a baby. Oh, a fly. And a squirrel shouting at something. Several squirrels. Oh yes, well done Herman. African hawk eagle up in a tree. Beautiful light on it. Who was it that wanted to see raptors yesterday? Benson, no? For me, one of the most beautiful eagles. The African hawk eagle. One of the smallest of the true eagles. Where are you going? You're going to go?
Also yellow eye, eh?
Yeah. Mate must be around here somewhere. African hawk eagles very, very seldom apart from their mate. They hunt together. They have a strategy to hunt together and feed together. Well spotted. I was looking around on the ground. But then, you know, squirrels wouldn't go that mad for a leopard because they wouldn't be as vulnerable or as threatened by a leopard as they would be from an African hawk eagle. You see, the African hawk eagle, they'd have one of the pair. There's the nest. It's just flown back to the nest. Aha. Aha. Quite a platform, that. But that's their strategy. One eagle distracts everything, sits out in plain view, or actually will fly in plain view just above the treetops, circling tight circles, and its mate will come in below the tree line and take something out, like a francolin or a guinea fowl or a squirrel or a... They do prefer birds. Only silhouetted, mostly silhouetted because of the pale cloud in the sky and the glare. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see if we can see if there's going to be a youngster. Not too sure. Can't remember what time of the year they breed.
One just here by us. Just in this tree, the other pair, the other one of the pair.
Oh, okay, I can just see it through that buffalo thorn. Other one's close to us here.
Sure, they're good looking birds, eh?
Yeah. Very handsome eagles.
So won't they go for snakes at all?
Yeah, they might.
I'm just thinking because I see there's feathers on the legs.
Yeah. Oh, I see, yeah. Now, some of the true eagles do go for snakes, but if they can get them. But they prefer small mammals and birds. Okay, I want to go down Central Road a little bit further, and then I want to come back and do Batelier Road, just in case maybe that rhino went that way. Bye, birds. Eagles. Oh, to have the freedom of an eagle. It's exciting to know that there's a rhino with a new calf around. I have no doubt that Tara's going to come looking this afternoon. If we can just get some idea of where she's gone. Rhinoceros. Rhino refers to nose and Ceros refers to horn. German name, Nashorn. Excuse me, squirrel. Ho hum. Go to Bateleur Road. V60 microphone buzz tracks. Okay, sorry. Just thinking aloud for Herman. Go away, flies, I'm busy. Turn you into a walk. Tara says she's been looking at that picture of the oxpecker from earlier, saying that it's the yellow eye-ring rather than the yellow beak. The yellow eye-ring and the red-billed oxpecker. Golden orb still working her web. One of the last diehards. Where are you, Mrs. Rhino? Drove over that log. Okay, sorry, radio. No, you can't. Well, finally, this branch has been brought down lower. Has to be cut off now. Always used to knock the antenna on that branch. Now we can't even go underneath it. Elephant have been busy here. I'm sure they've been busy at the Mudwallow too. But not recent. We're on a track. Just a human track. Somebody tracking Ryan, probably in his tracker.
This inverter's close switching around. It's negative, it's just the inverter switching around. So
Batteries are low. Got an orange and a red light. Interesting. Very interesting. The inverter is showing low battery life. Or level, I mean. Okay, fly. We are going to have to. Let's just get down into the Milwaukee. I can't imagine it's because we spent too much time. Maybe it was. Maybe our little escapade last night with the lion. But we had such a long night for it to charge up. There should be no reason why it's not. But I do think that if the inverter is switching off and the batteries are low, I don't think we should push it too much. Drain the batteries too much. We don't want to get the level too low. So we might just say goodbye to you a little bit early this morning. There's a Lucky Bean creeper. Look how pretty this looks. Christmas colors. And the true Lucky Bean comes from a coral tree. This is a small creeper that's using that little bit of raisin bush, known as a Lucky Bean creeper. And make nice Christmas decorations. Let's go. No sign of this cow and calf rhino, but it is rather dense around here, vegetation wise. We can only hope that at some point in the next day or two we're going to see them, and that they might hang around a little bit, might come to one of the dams, maybe see her up on Cheetah Cut Line. Maybe if she's heading west, she'll come to Chelapan during the day. Maybe. Wouldn't that be nice? Tara heads out on drive this afternoon to find a rhino and her calf at Chelapan. Go away, fly, please. Not in my mouth. One of maybe 3 or 4 insects that I have a low tolerance level for. But the other million insects I can handle. I don't mind a spider on my face. I don't mind a beetle on my face. I don't mind any insect on my face except a fly. For some reason, the fly is the most irritating. Maybe it's because the fly gets into your nose and into your mouth. Big snake pushing sand, so it's gone that way. Massive snake being here. Fairly recently too, it's quite fresh track. Pity we don't see them more often. We only see tracks. We very seldom get to see the snakes. They are very interesting creatures, and I know a lot of people don't like them, and a lot of it just comes from tales and legends and passed on fears. The fear is actually rather irrational. It's just another creature, just like everything else. It's no different to anything else. It's living, breathing, has red blood, has lungs, heart, liver, eyes, nose, mouth, teeth, some of them. Okay, they don't have ears, but you can't hold that against them. They feel with their bodies and their other organs, they feel vibrations. Tend to pick up vibrations in the air with their tongue. But there's no reason to dislike and hate snakes. None whatsoever. Just because they don't have legs. It's discrimination. It's not politically correct. You sit still, butterfly. Wow, I don't know this butterfly. It's one of the Caraxes, I think. Ah, it's there, it's on some dung. That's what it's flitting around for. Beautiful butterfly. Got a really deep velvet black, purple black interior to its wings. And of course now, 2 minutes to go.
Well, it's gone now, but I've got it.
Okay, just quickly before I say goodbye. On that little bit of mongoose dung. Been an interesting morning. A buffalo morning. Had some interesting chats, interesting questions. I want to thank you for that. And while I'm saying goodbye, I just want to quickly find this butterfly. Gee, that rhymes. Go away, fly. turn into a butterfly, and I can deal with you better. Where are my Caraxines? Where are the Caraxes? There we go. And the Polypus. That is an incredible butterfly, and I've never seen it before. All black in its wings. Could have been this one. Caraxes ethalion. I know it's time to say goodbye, but it's the only dark butterfly, dark Caraxes that there is. Did you get it, or did I pull the book away too quickly? I'm going to read up a little bit more about it, but go away, fly, please, I'm busy. My name is Mark, and Herman has been on camera, and Tara has been in final control, and you've been with us here on Wild Earth Safari on a beautiful Monday morning, getting a little bit overcast. I'm getting quite hot, I've got so many layers on, it's time to get shorts on again. Tara will be out this afternoon, and we'll see you then. So, good night, goodbye, and take care. Flies haven't left me alone since the buffalo. Butterflies.